Have you ever wished to speak with the deceased? I know it's a morbid thought, but have you? Perhaps with a relative or friend who died way too young. Maybe a former lover, sibling or parent who was taken away all too quickly. You have? Then what if I told you that you could do exactly that? Reach into the other realm inhabited by long gone departed souls and have your questions not just heard, but answered? Well, you can, and I will tell you how. Just know that it won't be easy, and not without any risks. To just reach the other side won't be difficult. It's getting out that is the tricky part. Therefore, you must do exactly as I say if you are to perform this ritual. The safety measures I recommend you use are not for my sake, but yours. There are many ways to contact the dead, but this is considered by many to be the most safe and comfortable way. What you will need: an empty room with no windows and a door with a lock. Most people use the basement. A big candle that can be lit for several hours. A lighter or matches. A table. 2 chairs. A phone. Paper. A personal item of yours. Perhaps a childhood toy. A personal item of the deceased. Something of no personal value to you or anyone you know. I would recommend something bought the same day, such as candy. A sharp knife. A bowl. A towel. Salt. Something to cover your eyes with is advisable, but not necessary. First of all, know that you can only do this if you're alone. You didn't think you could do this in a group, did you? To prepare for the ritual, you must make sure the chosen room has no light seeping in. Remove or cover any electronics and objects emitting any lights. Covering the gaps around the door is advisable, but not necessary for the ritual to work. Place the table in the middle of the room and with the chairs facing each other. Be certain that the chair you will be seated in is placed with its back facing the door. Do not use too large or impractical chairs. You'll want to be able to get up from it without any trouble if the need to arises. Place the candle right in the middle of the table and the lighter or matchbox next to it. You should also place the knife on the table with its blade turned away from your seat. Lastly, leave the paper, the bowl and the towel in front of your chair on the table. Your room is now technically ready, but you should make a circle around the table and chairs with a salt as a safety measure. It doesn't have to be thick, but there should be no gaps in the circle. Also, make sure to memorize the way to your chair so that you won't knock anything down in the darkness later. The ritual can only be performed during the night. People who have tried this multiple times say that best success rate is gained during midnight, so that's what you should be aiming for. It is vital that you sleep before attempting the ritual. The amount of time you must sleep is not of any vital importance, but you must sleep. If not, the ritual won't work. Just make sure to set your phone to wake you up during the night, and you should be just fine. If you oversleep, you can rest assured nothing sinister will happen, because the ritual hasn't officially started yet. When all is done and you have woken up in the middle of the night, you should turn off the alarm and start making your way to the chosen room. Don't forget to bring your phone with you to the room along with a personal item, impersonal item, and blindfold, if you chose to use it. You do not want to have left them in the room while you slept, so please bring them into the room first now. Enter the room without turning on the lights and be dead certain that you close the door behind you. The impersonal item is not necessary for the ritual to work, but having it present will be much safer for you. Place the impersonal item outside of the circle of salt. Do not place it in front of the door or in the path you would take if you were to flee the room. The personal item of the one you are trying to contact should be placed on the chair facing yours. Then, take a seat in your chair and place your personal item on your lap. The ritual will now commence. Before you continue on with the ritual, you should set an alarm on your phone that will go off in 3 hours. This is also not necessary to contact the dead, but to leave them when you are done. The ritual will begin as you light the candle with the lighter or the matches. Now, pick up the knife and carefully slice your open palm with it. Drip the blood in the bowl and be careful not to spill on the paper. Then, wrap your hand in the towel to suppress the bleeding. After all, I don't want you to get hurt. Write the person's name in blood using big letters, covering all of the paper. Let it dry for a second and put on the blindfold if you decided to use one. Burn the paper over the flame of the candle and close your eyes. At this point, you will be glad that you actually took my advice and used the blindfold. The sounds around you will become warped and distorted, and an indescribable cold will fill the room. This is because you have allowed the souls of the other side to enter the room. Do not look at them. Most of them are not a threat to you, but know that demons also infest the other side. If they sense your glare at them, they will hurt you. The circle of salt will prevent them from touching you, but if you give them the motivation of looking at them, not even that will help. Even though you wanted to bring just one person back, you will have brought them all back. You will hear their moans and screams for forgiveness and salvation, but it is important that you try to ignore them. Just stay quiet. The personal item of the deceased you have brought will enable you to find the right soul amongst all of the spirits and allow it to enter the circle. Your own personal item is an anchor to your own world and will allow you to go back. Wait a few seconds to be certain that a spirit has entered the circle, and then clearly say the person's name. If the right soul has entered, it will answer with your name, with sadness in its tone. If another soul has entered the circle, it will just answer no, and then leave. Just wait a few more seconds and try again if this happens. If a demon has somehow entered the circle, you will not even have to ask, because you will already be dead. When you are certain that the right spirit has entered the circle, you will be able to talk to it, ask it questions, and receive answers back. Just know that you have 3 hours, so make the most of the time you have. But when I say 3 hours, I mean 3 hours in your own world. Time moves much faster during this ritual, and it will feel more like 5 minutes. If you stay for too long, you will not be able to go back. You will be trapped amongst the dead as the only living soul. And trust me when I say, you do not wish for that to happen. So, when the alarm goes off, you will have about 1 minute in this world to end the conversation and blow out the candle, in which the ritual will end. However, it is important that you avoid any questions concerning their death and the circumstances around it. They will not understand, and the last thing you want is to be trapped inside the circle of salt with an upset spirit. If you at any point feel like shit's about to hit the fan, you must try to blow out the candle to end the ritual. If you are unlucky, it won't go out. It will burn with a gigantic flame powered by the anger of the spirit. Now, how can I explain the seriousness of your situation in a way that will make you understand? Well, you are trapped inside a circle of salt, surrounded by demons, with a spirit who possesses the power of not just rage, but a personal item, and of course, you. Run! Dash towards the door as fast as you can. The demons you will be passing are the least of your problems now. Hopefully, they will be distracted by the impersonal item. If you make it to the outside of the room, lock it. You will not be safe in this house anymore. Just leave this place and never come back. Never come back and never try this ritual ever again. Just know that if you just follow my instructions to the letter, you will have no problems performing this ritual. Before I leave you with this, I must tell you some things you shouldn't do. Do not try to contact more than one spirit at once. Do not try to contact the same spirit multiple times. Do not use the same personal item as an anchor more than once. And lastly, do not try to contact someone you personally didn't know. This isn't really that difficult if you know what you are doing. I mean, you will be able to speak with the people you have lost, and there is no limit in the amounts of times you can perform it, as long as nothing sinister happens. So, will you do it? Do you have the nerves? The guts? If you think you do, I have but one more thing to say to you. Good luck.